Hello and welcome. It's Mondre Allen. We're here live at the Hoops Hidden Gems podcast. Got a full house today. Happy to see everybody. Glad everybody could make it. Um, D, we got the champ in the building.
Absolutely.
We got to act a little bit different when the champ's in here.
32-0 last season.
Hey, listen, a perfect undefeated season. Y'all know who it is. We got Coach Ellis in the building from Creekside. Coach, how you feeling? How you doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Uh, got a win on a huge platform last night. Have you fully recovered? How much coffee did you need this morning?
Actually, I skipped the coffee this morning. That's how I'm feeling. I skipped the coffee this morning.
The sun shines a little bit brighter after a win, doesn't it, Coach?
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. Especially, when I know that a lot of people counted us out, because of our circumstances right now. But
For sure.
we got it together.
Well, let's get right into it, Coach. We'll talk about the elephant in the room that I'm sure everybody wants to hear about. I was at the game when it took place, but Coach, let's talk about it. Your star player, Cece Dennis, goes down at the end of a hard-fought game against Sandy Creek. In that moment, Coach, just take us back to that moment and talk to us about how you felt in the moment, and how you feel about Cece overall.
So in that moment, I didn't understand the nature behind her slapping the floor. I didn't realize, I'm thinking like she's slapping the floor like, yes, we got the foul we needed. That's what I'm thinking. That's what's going through my mind. It wasn't until, I heard her yell out. And for me, that was like different. Cece's not one to cry. Like I don't, she's not a crier. She's a fighter. She pushed through a lot of things. And I just think, bad timing, a little nudge, it kind of sent her over. But if you watch the flow of that game, like she was doing what we needed, right? She was hooping. I'm just saying she was hooping.
For
right.
Sure.
And then I don't think it really hit me until we got her on the table and I was able to feel, the area where it was injured. But my spirits were high because she got up off the table. She was able to limp back out there. And I know from experience, because I've dealt with my own knee issues, like a lot of it. I knew nothing was broken, but it was the swelling that was a little alarming for me. Mm-hmm. But it didn't really send me in a panic, because I know the things we do on a day-to-day basis with our team, right?
Sure.
And so a lot of people, I can see it in their faces, like, they heard the news about an ACL. So if you're an opponent for us, they're like, we smell blood, right? Like, but if you're on the staff, like, we good, like, we good. Like, and Cece's gonna come back better. This I know, because immediately after being injured, the girl wants to go back into the game. She's like, okay. She looking up at the clock, like, it's still some time left on the clock. It might have been like 30 seconds left. She's like, I want to go back in the game. That's the kind of person Cece is. That's her as a person. Like, always taking on the load, wanting to do her part, never shying away from anything. How I feel about Cece is a legend. Cece is a legend. Period. And it ain't no negative. You can't feel any type of negativity if you just respect the game of basketball. Cece is a legend.
She's proven it.
Yeah,
100%.
She's gone up against some of the best in the nation and come out on top with no recognition, with no prior recognition for it. Like, people are still thinking, like, I think it was OT, she dropped like 29. And I'm like, that's light. That's a light night. As a freshman, Cece had a 40 ball. As a freshman, So
I think her stats against Creekside in the game where she was injured was 43, 10, and 8. I think she was at.
And it's like, just imagine if the knee wasn't, because I'm gonna be honest, I think she told me it had been hurting before. I think it was hurting in that game, right? But if we have a healthy Cece, that particular game, it wouldn't have been close.
She's
It
a.
wouldn't have been close.
For those who don't know, we're talking about Cece Dennis, ESPN Top 100 player in the class of 2027. And you mentioned her being a legend, coach. I just want to make sure that people understand. Talk about what Cece means to that community, because I'm still hearing stories of her from middle school, from guys
Middle
like
school.
Bryce and people who love that Creekside area. Talk about what she means to the community down there at Creekside.
Man. So people know I've been coaching at Creekside for about the last 8 years. First 5 seasons, not the best, right? But then 2020, shut down with the schools. Very little kids coming into school. Cece's one of those kids, right? So before a lot of the world knew how good Cece was, I got to experience her in 6th grade, right? And I'm like, she in my class, but she don't talk much, and I'm looking at her like, why this kid don't talk, right? So, but one of the PE teachers, he showed me a video clip of her in PE, and I'm like, man, this girl good, right? And then come to find out, this kind of kid Cece is, right? Immediately, I talked to her. I'm like, hey, what are your plans for high school? Things like that. Of course, everybody want to go to Westlake, but I'm like, Cece, you live here, this is where you need to be. This is a whole new uncharted territory. Like Creekside never won a state championship. They'd won region before, years ago. Like, it had been so long since anything great for girls basketball had happened at Creekside, before she was even born, before any of these girls were born. So, and just talking to her about that, right? And then getting to know her 7th grade, 8th grade, and her coming, that transition from middle school to high school. We go from a barely winning 10 games a season to Sweet 16 in one season. And it's just all pure energy, right? They just, the adrenaline rushing, but I think, we were lacking experience. But in one season, we go from, I think the record might have been like 5 and who knows, right? 5 and something. And we go 20 and 9, almost knocking off the Langston Hughes when they were loaded, right? We only lost by 5 in that game. Competing with some of the top teams in the state. And these girls, Cece's a freshman leading the way. Like I told you, she had a 40 ball as a freshman. Cece meant change. She still means change. Yeah. She means change for the city of Fairburn when it comes to women's sports, girls' sports. That young lady, I don't even think she knows all that she's done in a matter of 2 seasons for Fairburn. I'm like, with her leading the way, we brought home a state championship for girls basketball in Fairburn. We did it first. 2 years. And then it takes teams, like, it normally take about 5, maybe, 3 to 5 years.
Build a culture.
Okay, we mess up year 1, year 2, we go perfect. Like, that's what I'm saying. Cece is a legend. All of that in a span of 24 months. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. And so, like, it's I'm just honored to be a part of it. See, I think the world of Cece. I think the world of Cece as a person first, as a person. And then obviously we know who she is as a player. But if you get to know her as a person, she's loyal. She believes in making everybody around her better. All right. She's going to bring it every single day, every single time. And she's going to push you to be your best self, whether you her teammate, whether you her coach. Like, that's Cece. She makes everything better.
Coach, let me say this real quick, Coach. Hey, we always like to we coin this term, you never know who's watching. my version of Cece.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there to see you guys. Like, I was there to see the game, but it was another person on another team. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember vividly calling Madre, like, you got to see this kid. I was like, because I was coming to see another player, and TCC lit her a new one. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
who is this? And
Yeah.
it was that freshman going into sophomore year before the blow up.
Right.
And I was telling Madre, I was like, well, you got to see this. I was like, man, I'm telling you. I was like, this one's different. And,
Mm-hmm.
she came to camp, the Southeast Top 100. And definitely, I mean, there was great talent there, great talent.
Yeah.
And she established herself firmly as one of the top players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's Cece. Quiet Cece. You just got to see it.
Coach, we've seen a lot of players come through, and we always talk about this Mount Rushmore of basketball players in the state of Georgia, and it's highly competitive, as you know, the amount of talent that comes out of the state. I've always had Maya Moore as a part of my Georgia Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And I say, regardless of gender, men, women, Maya Moore is on the Mount Rushmore of Georgia basketball.
Absolutely.
But it's been a long time since we had someone, I think, of Cece's stature, right? I'll say Isaiah Collier, 3 out of 4 championships. Sharif Cooper, try to push his name into the conversation as being a highly decorated player. As Sharif Floget, of course, what she did at Sprayberry. But Cece, to me, has that Colin Sexton almost star power that very few players have. Isaiah Collier had more championships than Colin Sexton, but nobody quite had that type of star power as Colin Sexton. When you talk about Cece being a legend, do you believe that she has the potential to get to that level of the Maya Moores and that type of thing, where it could be a Mount Rushmore type moment for the city of Fairburn and for Creekside?
Do I know it? I know. Like, listen, I know it. She carries herself with this humbleness that, again, you don't see from the elites, like the top level. Again, let's go back to OTE, right?
Yeah.
Cece shows up. I got to walk y'all through. She wasn't invited. She had to try out. She had to try out.
Yeah,
right.
I heard. Which is crazy.
Which is nuts, right? If you think about it, she had to try out. They didn't pick her. But then somebody with some sense, like, hold on, wait a second. How is she not on a team? They call her up later on, let her know, oh, you're in. And, the conversations with Cece has always been, hey, when you get your opportunity, you make it count. And the fact that she's put on a team that Ivory Lotta is coaching, that Ivory Lotta is coaching, like, I'm like, see, this it right here. And then next thing you know, they win a chance. She go up against the best in the nation. The nation says this young lady is the best. She can hoop. Like, she can go.
Yes.
But my money on Cece every time.
It's the stage. It's the stage, Coach. Like, whether it's Creekside or it's FBC. I mean, what you just said is perfect. Like, we seen Cece at FBC against some of the best teams, and that stage, she's still like, people a lot of times will dismiss it and be like, oh, that's this Creekside. No, it's Creekside. It's FBC. She's stepping up, and you're like, yeah, she's cold. She's cold.
Yeah. It don't matter what jersey she got on. You are going to get her best. Period.
Coach, you talked about Cece making everybody better. One of the things I noticed after Cece announced the injury on Instagram was an outpouring of love and support from her teammates. And the thing that I noticed most frequently from her teammates, whether it be Kiana Harvey or Sydney Hunter, it was the promise of, hey, we're still going to win a championship. We're playing for you, and we're still going to do this very confidently. And to me, that confidence showed on the floor, right? Most teams losing a player of Cece's stature, we just talked about how legendary she is, aren't able to recover after losing that player. But it's almost like that just ignited a deeper fire inside of your team. Talk about the aftermath of that injury, and tell us what it was like walking into this River Ridge game and how your girls were feeling coming into that basketball game.
They were confident. Like, and I think it's because they are more than just teammates. That's, if you understand that, everything else will make sense. They're family. And so it's like, I'm gonna ride for my sister. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do for my sister, whatever I'm capable of doing. So now they have a new reason. And it's do it for C. They got a new reason to want to show up and step up and get it done, because they understand, like me, they understand what she has done to get us to where we are. Not saying that they haven't contributed as well along the way, but they're like, all right, we're here now. We can't let this go. We can't just bow out, right? We got to do this for Cece. She went out leading us. So now we got to take care of her the same way she took care of us for these last 2 years. We got to take care of her, which means we got to take care of business. That's it.
Coach, in saying what you just said, now it shines the spotlight on some other players that people weren't privy to. And we thank you for being a huge supporter. But when we saw Sydney Hunter, when she came to camp as well, we said, like, this girl can play. I mean, is she playing in the shadows of Cece? Yes, but now people are like, wait a minute, who is this? And proudly, we're sitting back like, yeah, we told y'all she can play.
Yeah.
She can play. And now it, like you said, I like the model of do it for C, but now it's going to highlight all these other players. Like, I always like to say, one person, it's more than one person, and it's always a team that will get you to a championship. Like, there has to be, because one person, she can't have it every time, and somebody has to pick up the slack. And now that you're going to have those players that we know about picking up the slack, now, to be honest with you, this could be a blessing for you when she does come back, because now we know Cece, like Madre said, she's Mount Rushmore. She has that potential. But like, it's these other girls, the Sydney Hunters, the JC Mitchells, like if I'm a college coach, I need to be looking like, who's that? Who is that? Kiana Harvey's, like, Kiana has that potential. Like, with her being a 26, like, people need to be looking at her. And even down to, the new player that people need to know about is Malia Harris. Like, you're a team. You're not just a one-trick pony, a one-man show.
Right.
And I want to talk some more about some of these players, and I'm sure Madre has some questions as well. But let's start with Sydney Hunter. Let's just start there.
Coach, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. Did you know coming into the River Ridge game that Sydney Hunter was capable of doing that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I knew that for years. Sydney is, I like to call it, that's my secret weapon. That's my secret weapon, right? Sid's the kind of kid, she's going to clap for everybody. Like, she's going to make sure she's going to uplift. Sid has a character that you do not see in children anymore. And I'm saying that because I'm also a teacher. Sid has high level integrity. She's very coachable, high level performer in school. She's the model athlete, right? Sid is capable. Sid works hard. Let me say that too. She trains hard. She works hard in practice. What you guys saw yesterday, Sid does that every single day in practice. And Sid is really like, she holds it together. She does things for us on both sides of the basketball. She, wherever we need her, if we need you in a post, if we need you on the wing, Sid is there. I got you, coach. I got you, coach. Sid is, so for the world, well, people, I don't know how, how far of reach that the game went yesterday, but what I do know, for Sid to start to see a return on her work brings me a lot of joy, because I know how this young lady has been since I've known her, again, since 6th grade. Always applauding, uplifting. I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. I got you, coach. I got you, C. I got you, Jay. Tweeting out, let's go, sisters. Let's get this done. That's it. So for people to now start to see that Sid is a force. Sid is a force, right? Because again, she can play anywhere on the floor on both sides of the basketball. I am so happy to know that people are starting to wake up and know that Sid, where there's one, there's two. Yeah.
Fantastic. We loved her at camp. I think again, it was one of the moments where, she can play alongside of a superstar, but in moments where she needs to lead the team, you definitely saw her do that. You mentioned some of the other players. I think Dave, you mentioned Malia Harris. Malia Harris, you got 18 points out of her. She was 7 of 13 from the floor overall, 2 for 2 from three, and a couple of rebounds out of the 32 minutes that you got from Malia Harris. But what does show on the stat sheet from what I just read off was defensively, Malia Harris was all over the basketball. Coach, tell us about Malia for the folks that don't know about her.
So Malia is a 2028, again, another great basketball player, right? Offensively, she can put up those numbers in her sleep. She really can shoot the basketball really well. She could score at all three levels. Malia's still young in the game, but she has shown up defensively for us. And she actually, I think, Tri-City, she had a 26-point game, right? So the numbers, we know that she's capable of. I love that she's buying into her role as a defensive weapon as well, right? And I always tell her, like, hey, if the shot ain't falling, what else can you do? What else can you do? She followed the game plan to perfection yesterday, and she didn't back down. That's what is, to me, yesterday was growth for Malia. She did not back down from her assignment, and it really pushed us over the edge to get the win. But Malia is also another one, high skilled, very skilled, high IQ. She's a good basketball player. She's going to be a great basketball player by the time she leaves high school.
The other one, I definitely want to talk about, because, we were fortunate enough to see her as well, is Cece Mitchell.
Yeah.
Coach, give us your thoughts on her, definitely.
Cece, I think people in the region, they know about Cece. Like, again, another kid that's capable of putting up 20 a night easily, sneakily. Like you wouldn't even realize, before you know it, she got 15 and a half. You wouldn't know. Very shifty. She's our defensive, like, dog. Like, she footwork is crazy. And JC has a confidence in her that can't be taken away. It can't be taken away, but she's a big part of, like you said, when somebody has to pick up the slack, the in between her and Sydney and Malia, they do that, but it's hard to see it. When you got Cece on the floor, it's hard to see it unless you have the eye for basketball, right? But if you're just a fan, it's hard to see how those three really contributed and still contribute to our success. But JC can go. She can
Coach.
score. Yeah.
Coach, you played those three.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about JC Mitchell, Sydney Hunter, Malia Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Played those three players, all 32. And we talk about what they're able to do defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that happen? that you can trust those players to play at that high a level for that amount of minutes?
Man, it starts in practice. It starts in practice and building that trust and keep drilling into them like, hey, and even during the game. So I think there was a moment. So Sydney, she kind of was in foul trouble, like in the beginning. She was kind of in foul trouble. So, but it's reminding, okay, who else got some fouls to give? We gotta save Sydney, right? We gotta distribute this all the way around. All right, so cool. Make the adjustment. Let's move Sydney to a position to where she's not put in not put in a position to foul so much. Now we're gonna JC, you up next, right? Malia, you up next, and just kind of like spread that around, but be very strategic in reminding them, hey, no foul. We can't pick up any fouls right now. We can't. Just that's how we keep them on the floor, reminding them like, hey, we play defense with our feet, not with our hands. It's all about yesterday's game plan was all about containing, right? We knew Finley was gonna be Finley, right?
Yeah.
But our big stepped up really big too, and following the game plan yesterday, and they gave it a lot of energy. Like Riley Roberson stepped up big for us yesterday. Camille, Emanuela, like they did their part, right? So with the guards, they can get kind of antsy at times. They want to get steals. Like we trying to get in that, but it's like teaching them the discipline portion of defense. Like we just containing right now, so we can stay in the game long enough. Because I also know River Ridge has a big three, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay, we got to stay on the floor with their big three. That's how that happens. Like reminding them we got to either have the same amount or more weapons, in our pocket than the other team. But we can only have that if y'all are able to stay on the floor. So it's just a building trust with them in practice. Like, hey, we can't afford certain things. I think yesterday, I don't think we turned the ball over. I don't think we turned the ball over yesterday. Like the guards. I don't think our guards turned the ball over. And I was shocked to hear that stat at the end of the game. I'm like, dang, I didn't even notice that. So yeah, that yesterday was a true testament to what that we're a good team. Yes, we have a great point guard.
Mm-hmm.
We have some great players too. Outside of that, we're a good team. So,
Coach, if you had to describe it, how would you describe the culture of Creekside women's basketball?
No nonsense. No nonsense. Like it's just like, and no fear. No, there's nothing to fear. Like you're the best. Know it, own it, and go show it every single game.
I like that.
Yeah.
Coach, we talked about the last game, which was the win against River Ridge High School, another powerhouse team in Georgia at the Hawks Naismith Tip-Off Classic. But I want to get to last season. At the beginning of the year, I'm sure you were confident, but did you think 32-0? Were you thinking perfection at the end of the year? What was your thought process coming into the year, and how did that change going throughout the season?
So when we, creating the schedule, I'm thinking back to when I was in high school and we won the state championship. Like, what are some of the things we did, right? We played out of state. Mm-hmm. We went out of state, right? So I had to make sure we got something out of state. We went to the She Got Game Classic in DC. Okay, cool. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, we might lose up there. But, it's exposure. You know what I'm saying? It's an opportunity to play different styles and, not just, again, what's here. And creating the schedule, I was not thinking 32-0. I was thinking maybe 29 and, maybe 27, somewhere along those lines. Like I thought somebody would get us. And we almost got God. Which is funny. We almost got God. It's my homeboy. team out of Miami.
Oh, at the MLK Classic. That's when I thought you all had a chance at the MLK Classic. But to me, there's two things that stood out about that game. To me, that let me know Cece is bona fide top 50.
Mm-hmm.
And that also let me know you all got a chance to win this thing.
Yeah.
that was, I left saying that to myself. I said, Creekside got a chance to win the state.
Mm-hmm. And that stretch, that week in particular, that was a lot of basketball we played. So I think we had Maynard Jackson Friday. Saturday we had Lowndes County. Monday we had a team out of Miami. The next day we had another game. That was 3 days, four games in like a span of like 4 days, right? Back to back to back to back.
Tough,
basketball.
not one game you win by a third. No, those were all very tough teams. And that's why I said after I left out that Monday, I said, they got a chance. They got a chance to do this. Now, like you said, was I thinking, I wasn't even thinking undefeated. I was thinking, no, they got a chance to win state.
But it got to a point, once we got past that stretch, we're going to win the region out. That I did know. But then I started thinking like, yo, we haven't lost any games. like in order to win state, that was always the goal, to win state. Nothing else. State and region were the goals. It got to a point where you got to go undefeated to win state.
Yeah.
And
but doesn't that kind of concern you a little bit? Like you're perfect the whole season before going into state, and you'd be like, I don't want to have a letdown before a state, and you don't have a chance to experience that adversity, and you're like, well, if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it now.
Right.
Like you said,
And I think that loss at Dalton in the Sweet 16 the year before, they took that like hard. And our conversation to them after that game was, everybody got to get better. Everybody got to come back. Everybody comes back, but everybody got to come back better. Mm-hmm. And so, they went out, they trained, did their thing at AAU. We come back next season. Okay, now we've experienced defeat because they're young. They know they're good, but they don't understand discipline. So the next season, I'm going back in my mind and, talking amongst the coaches, hey, we gotta be hard. We gotta be hard on them. My whole thing was, I can't tell them how proud I am of them until the state championship game, because they're looking for it. And so I feel if they're looking for it, if I give it to them too soon, they might
get
comfortable. And my thing to them, I don't ever want you to get comfortable. Because in my experience of playing, I got comfortable and then I stopped. My growth stopped. These girls are too good, too talented. I don't ever want them to get comfortable and stop and be okay with the approval. No, we got to keep going. There's always room for growth. Even when you won a championship, there's still room for growth. We still have things we have to keep working on. And I think that they have bought into that. They understand it a lot better now. They aren't the same 12 and 13-year-old kids in 9th grade. Now that they're like, 16? They've grown a lot in these last couple years. They've matured a lot. They're understanding that it is a team effort. Although the media would make it a one-man show, they understand that it is a team effort. And so I think that in itself is like, I don't know, every day I'm just in like, they surprise me every day. I'm just in shock because when I met them to who they are now, and I struggled a lot, like, as coaches, we're like, are we saying the right things? Like, are they hearing us? Are we doing the right things?
Yep.
And so going 32-0 last year, I'm like, okay, they heard me. Okay, they heard, they heard me. It didn't look like it for a while because it's not done exactly the way that you might picture it in your head, but us getting the job done and them going 32, and I'm like, yo, they were listening. Like, and it not just me, right? Like, I have some very good assistant coaches that push the same message. Like, and I knew when after the game, one of our players, Leah Moore, she had a really good state championship game, right? And after the game, she gave this speech and she went around the room and she was talking about like, oh, I remember coach said this. I remember this coach said this. I remember this player said this way. And it's like, they were, like they were listening. Like some of the conversations I didn't even know was being had while they're sitting on the bench, if they might have gotten pulled out, they were listening and they like locked in. So yeah, it's
Coach,
fun. It's fun to coach these girls.
I have a really great question for you. We know, well, the people that know that the basketball on the South Side is really good. It's good, and a lot of people tend to, and this is no shot because we cover basketball all of Cobb, Gwinnett, DeKalb. A lot of times, in my opinion, I feel like the South Side doesn't get their just due, but there's some really good basketball there.
Oh, they let me hear about it too.
Let me ask you this. Like, the Creekside, now that you guys are established, and this is before people knew the rivalry games like the Creekside Langston Hughes, the Creekside Westlake games. Talk about that, and I'm not saying it's some nasty personal rivalry. No, it's a very competitive rivalry because I know for a fact Westlake respects you guys, and I know Langston Hughes respects you. But talk about those type of rivalry games that even makes what you guys doing even more impressive.
So the out of the three, right? Out of the three schools, when it comes to girls' sports, people weren't really, we weren't. We would be three, right? For a long time.
Right.
At least since I had been there. I don't know. I know that this rivalry began well before I was even thought of. But when it comes to like Creekside versus Langston or Westlake versus Creekside or Langston versus Westlake, when you have those two, any combination of the two in a conversation, it's the town is coming.
Yes.
Right. The people want to see it. And it's like it's like it's still respect at the end. Like we gonna go out there, we gonna coach our teams. The players probably gonna talk smack to each other, things like that. But ultimately, we're all on the same side, the South Side, right? So I was a little shocked, but then I thought about it when Westlake congratulated us on the state championship. Like I was like, that's love. Like that's love. Like, and so it's not as much as people would like to think that it's personal.
Sure.
And again, I'm only speaking for myself and where we are now. Now, back then it might have been personal. I don't know. Right. But it's like a different kind of competitiveness. It's not necessarily personal. It's like we're gonna give you our best always, right? But at the end of the day, we all we're trying to push the same, the same agenda. We want our kids to get recognized in the state amongst everybody else, right? So that's kind of how it's been since I've been there with both basketball, football, like it's love, but we gonna compete. Yeah.
Coach, out of all this, every time I hear you speak, it's always about the kids.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's not about us. It's about the kids.
but Coach, that state championship ring also puts you in a different conversation.
Yeah, that's what they
say. has that kicked in yet for you? Has that realization happened that state championship now has your name being mentioned in a different set of circles as well?
Yeah. This is something I think about. Again, when I was a player in high school, I was on a team that won the first state championship almost exact day 20 years prior. So to solidify that as a coach, it meant a lot to me. It's still, but to me, it's still like we got work to do. Like I'm used to, let me say this. I've won before. I don't act like I haven't won before. Right? There's some people that has never won. And so to them, they get the big head, things like that. That's not me. I know I'm a winner before I even win. I know that because my agenda is not about me. It's about the kids. It's always about the kids. So I've already won. If they're growing and I can see them and I'm able to witness that growth, and I know that it might have been something I said or did to help push them forward, that makes me a winner. That's it. Like it don't, like, and but I do understand the conversation. I've had people reach out, things like that, but I don't know. I'm still Coach Ellis. I'm still Coach Ellis. Like,
Coach, we have a Mount Rushmore for coaches as well. Listen, we do rank programs on this show. Or at least on Love of the Game. We will. I'll come out with my high school rankings again later. We've done that before. I typically high major. There are high major high schools. There are mid major high schools. Like we rank them all the way down. But
yeah,
Coach, and I'm teasing, but it doesn't sound like you spent any time at all thinking about some of the greats that have come before you, and it doesn't sound like you thought about any aspirations of competing with those individuals, or do you think about that at all?
I run my race. Okay. I run my race, right? And we say the same thing to the girls, like, you are good within your own right. You don't have to compete with anybody but you. What people have done, that's for them. What I'm doing is for me. That's it. Like,
yeah.
I haven't really, no, I haven't. And honestly, I was watching the Westlake State Championship game some years back, before I even began teaching. And it did inspire me, watching Raven Johnson and Tanaya and she's at Georgia Tech now, Snoop, watching them take care of business on that floor. It pushed me to, all right, okay, I got to get serious. I said, I want to coach. I got to get serious about what I'm doing. Watching Coach Hankerson, and I said it, ask Brittany. I was with Brittany, right? We were at that state championship game together. And I told Brittany, I was like, that's going to be me one day. I was like, that's going to be me. Now, mind you, I'm just talking, right, with Brittany. And we talked about it. We laughed about it right before the state championship. We like, remember we was at the game and you said this? And it was like, that's another reason why I cried when we won. It was like, you really can like speak things,
manifest it.
You can manifest it for real. Like that's a real thing. So, but no, I don't find myself comparing. I feel like I've had some of the best coaches in the state of Florida. I don't know if y'all heard about them, but the Bum Gardens. Yes. It's a family. Those were my coaches. So they instilled in us, like, run your own race. Run your own race.
Coach, for if there are any young coaches watching this, who may be inspired at that in this moment, from your success, what would be advice that you would give to them? Or if you could go back in time to yourself as a young coach, what are some pieces of advice that you would give?
Be open to feedback, even if someone is like, if the tone isn't right, I ain't saying let nobody disrespect you, but what I am saying is hear the message, because sometimes it is something you need to hear. Maybe you don't like how it's being told to you, but also be in it for the right reasons. That's the biggest thing. If you're in it for the right reasons, you're going to have success. If you're not, you probably won't, or it's going to take a lot longer. But do it for the right reasons. Be open to criticism. Don't take things personal. take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, right? That probably should have been first. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, because you can easily get lost in the day-to-day when working with children. And you take on their feelings and their emotions and things like that. But you got to take care of you, because if you're not great, how are they going to, how are you going to be great for them? They're not going to be great. I think they talk about moms, like if mama not happy, the house ain't, they ain't no happiness in the house. So if the head ain't taking care of themselves, the tail will suffer, right? So take care of you. Do it for the right reasons. Be open to feedback. You can don't be afraid to change direction either. Like if something doesn't work, don't try to force it. Maybe you try something different. Like try something different. That's really all I have though. That's my advice. That's what I've learned along the way. And don't take anything personal. People don't know you. People don't know what you've been through, what you deal with.
It's very true.
And we don't know, vice versa. We don't know what they deal with, what they've been through. So we can't take things personal. We shouldn't take things personal. I don't like to tell people what they can't do either, but you shouldn't take
Try not to. Try not to.
Yeah.
Very true.
Everybody's human. Try not to.
Right.
Coach, we're gonna get ready to wrap these up, but just a couple of questions as we go. We could not get off of this show without having you speak about Riley Robeson and Kiana Harvey, two players that are also very pivotal to your success at Creekside. Just talk to us about those two young ladies.
So Riley and Kiki, I'm gonna start with Riley. Another one I met in 6th grade. I was her teacher. I was her math teacher. And Riley suffered an ACL tear going into her sophomore year. And Riley, I'm proud of Riley because Riley has pushed through the mental part of it. Like it took a toll on her from a mental perspective, right? As it will all kids. Like I'm not able to do these things. But my most proudest moment right now with Riley is the fact that I can see her coming onto the other side now. She's the Riley that I know, that I'm used to. Smiling, good kid, gonna give you her absolute best every single time. And again, a lot of people forgot about Riley. I'll say that. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know. But hey, maybe again, like maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Now you could come back and shock people and make them remember. I tell her, make them remember you. Yep. Because you also were a part of that success early on with the younger team when they were running around beating everybody. Riley Robeson was a factor, and she's still a factor.
Agreed.
Kiki got with us 9th grade. I don't know. Kiki hadn't played much basketball before that, but over the years, Kiki has matured. The person Kiki has matured, which has had an effect on Kiki in a positive way as a basketball player. Kiki is super important. Like I said this to y'all earlier. I don't know anybody in the state of Georgia in 4A that is going to stop Kiana Harvey from doing whatever she wants to do. That's just my honest opinion. I've watched a lot of teams in 4A. I don't see anybody. The girl has crazy athletic ability.
Yes.
I watched her grab a rebound a few times. We had a game in the summer I want to say, not this past summer, the summer before. She grabbed 18 boards. She only played about maybe 18 minutes. She grabbed 18 boards. And I'm talking about she looks like a woman amongst children grabbing these, like a superhero almost, right? And then just her ability to just do what Kiki does. It's different. Kiki is different as far as what she's capable of doing. And I was telling her we just gotta keep her out of foul trouble, so people can see what I'm talking about. So people can see what I'm talking about. But Kiki is a factor. Kiki's a very, like I said, a lot of teams have 2, maybe 3 that can go. We got about 6 or 7. We got a legit 7. We got a legit 7 that can go. And if you, depending on the day of the week, we might have 10.
For
It's
sure.
just being honest. But we have some kids that, like, I know you all know, but a lot of people just overlook. They overlook them. And you got to use, and I tell them, use that to your advantage. Like the Sandy Creek game, they were leaving Riley wide open. Everybody focused on Cece. Cece found her every single time. And Riley made it count. Kiki, she didn't get to play much, but when she did have to come in for Cece in that Sandy Creek game and shoot the free throws, hey, she made it count. So it's stuff like that. Like, as a coach, I know we good. I know we good.
Coach, I can see where the confidence in your team comes from now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, teams always take on the identity of the coach, and when your coach has that much confidence in you, now I see where the kids' confidence comes from. No, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, last question. You were gracious enough to bring your team to our Summer Slam event.
Mm-hmm.
You've also been gracious enough to send your kids to the Southeast Top 100.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely appreciate your support, but wanted to have you talk a little bit about your experience working with us as far as having your team play in our summer event, our team camp event, but also sending your girls to Southeast Top 100 and why that is important for your program as well.
So with the South, I'm gonna just start with the Southeast Top 100. I remember the first year that my kids came. You guys were probably the first people to acknowledge the talent that my kids had outside of Cece, because Cece, that's obvious, right? But I haven't forgotten. You guys were the first to acknowledge the amount of talent we have, on our roster. And then as far as that, for me, that meant and still does mean a lot to me, right? That's something I think about all the time. Like, man, these guys recognize my girls for who they are, their talent. So coming to your SummerSlam is a given. We there. End of discussion. It's always a good time anyway. Great competition. Very professional staff. Anytime we need anything, you guys are there to provide. The facility you guys have been using is nice. It's not nothing that's, some backdoor rundown. No. So I appreciate you guys for the hospitality, for the coverage, for the support, everything.
Well, you all made us look good as well, speaking out, because you backed it up.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's real, y'all. Like, it's real. Like, these guys are genuine. They're genuine.
It was a pleasure, Coach, and your young ladies came and showed the pedigree of that program. All of them extremely polite. Mm-hmm. All of your parents were
they know
polite and kind to us. So
yeah, the players, they know, like, hey, you representing your parents, Creekside.
Top notch for all the way around. Dealing with you guys has been top notch all the way around. Well, Coach, we absolutely appreciate you coming on. This has been terrific. Any final words, any final thoughts from you, Coach? Anything you want to say to some of these coaches that may not have been in your gym yet? Anything you want to say to those coaches?
Yeah, don't be afraid to come in the swamp. You ain't gonna sink. Come on down to the swamp.
That's fantastic, Coach. We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate your support, and it's been great supporting you and watching your program continue to grow and thrive. So,
I appreciate it.